I think I even may have asked her, is it twins? She's like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, triplets. Like, how am I going to handle that? Then she told me the great news that it was quadruplets. And, I was elated.
And the first perinatologist I went to, I just left with a horrible feeling. He did not seem confident or sure about himself at all, which doesn't make the patient feel very confident or reassured. He predicted that, I'd go into labor even earlier, the national average for quadruplets is 29. He thought I'd be 26 weeks, with several weeks prior to that in the hospital. And he told me that there was a 50% chance for each of the babies to have a long-term handicap. I just felt like not coming out to Phoenix was playing Russian roulette with their lives. Maybe I'd, carry them later and they'd be fine. Maybe I wouldn't. And I didn't want to have any regrets, and I didn't want to have to look at my, child every day and know that maybe I could have done something to prevent this.
A lot of what we have here is not offered anywhere else in the country, and that is really experience. We have taken care of and delivered 108 quadruplet pregnancies, which is about 4 times more than anyone else in the world. We have taken care of 22 sets of quintuplets. Again, that's probably about 10 times more than anyone else in the world. So we've been successful. We know what we're doing, and we know how to get a good outcome.
It was amazing, after having so many horrible conversations, to actually talk to a doctor that was like, yeah, everything's going to be fine. You will have 4 healthy babies, and your outcome's going to be great. We're going to make sure of it. It was just so refreshing. He was never stressed about anything. I had his cell phone number, so the first couple of weeks I called him a few times because things would come up and I'd be nervous, and he was just always very relaxed. Nothing was high stress, which was really important, for me, because it was such a stressful pregnancy. I needed somebody to be like, this isn't a big deal.
He
this
seemed
is normal.
Competent. He knew what he was doing.
Right.
Different tone than everyone else.
And then I was due for an ultrasound. I'd have weekly ultrasounds, and we saw that one of the babies wasn't growing, the way the other ones were. The other ones were 3 pounds, and he had only gained an ounce in a week. It was a very upsetting ultrasound, and we found out that Jack's placenta was failing. Things just weren't going right with it, and that, we had to deliver in 2 or 3 days. Otherwise, he would have died based on, I guess, how the placenta was functioning.
We do the more difficult, longer scans, looking at growth and assessing the babies for adequate oxygenation, and then the obstetrician will do some of the simpler ultrasound exams that Allison underwent. And in this case, it was important because we detected a growth problem with baby C, who turned out to be Jack. And in the end, it was actually a decision based on Jack's health that we went ahead and recommended delivery for Allison, so that Jack would not end up dying, which was going to happen in a day or so, just because of the placenta not functioning well.
I'll never forget it. They had a nurse with me the whole time, because I guess the dads need a nurse too. But they have you get ready, you put on scrubs, and they kind of coach you what's going to be happening. They gave you just a terrific play-by-play. The babies are going to look a little small. They might look a little blue. That's totally normal. They told you, you're going to be sitting at the head of the bed. So I know everything that's going to happen. But it's still a huge surprise, and it's still happening so fast. But there was a team of I think 20, 25 doctors in there.
Yeah, I had a few, nurses and doctors, and then each baby had their own team.
Yeah.
So as soon as one was born, they'd show you the baby, and
yeah,
they'd
it's a
rush
boy.
off.
Out.
Yeah.
They were born at 10, 16, 17, 18, and 19. It was just boom, 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 boom. And then after they were born, they walked me over the NICU and they showed me, each baby, things are going well. This baby looks great. I'd ask a question. They'd be like, oh, the baby looks wonderful. Your wife did such a great job. And she did. But yeah, it just hit me in the NICU. It was so overwhelming after I'd seen all babies. I was like, oh my gosh. And the nurse was like, what's wrong? Are you okay? And I was like, oh, I have 4 kids. It was exciting and scary, and a relief. I would say a big relief that everything had gone so well.
We moved to save Jack and give him a chance to make it, and I think it was a great decision.
Coming to Phoenix has just been an incredible experience, from the doctors with their national expertise to the facilities. We had an amazing hospital. The nurses, the doctors were just incredible. I mean, to the support of just the community of other parents of multiples. And then the weather, I mean, you can't beat it. We could have ended up somewhere really cold.
Yeah.
And we ended up, in this beautiful valley surrounded by mountains with 75-degree sunny weather in February. It doesn't get much better than that.